It was one of those cold, rainy evenings when the city seemed to have forgotten how to care. I was hurrying home from my second job, exhausted but thinking about my daughter, Ella, who'd been waiting for me with dinner she probably made herself again. As I reached the bus stop, I noticed a man sitting there in a wheelchair, his expensive suit drenched, his shoes covered in mud. People walked by pretending not to see him. Something about him seemed off. Not just the fact that a man wearing a watch worth more than my monthly rent was waiting for a city bus, but the look in his eyes. Defeat. I slowed down and said, "You okay, sir?" He didn't answer at first. Then, in a voice rough but low, he said, "I'm fine. Just need to get home." His accent was refined, his words clipped. That's when I recognized him, Daniel Cole, the CEO of Coltech Industries, the company that had laid off half its employees last winter, including a few of my friends. The man who'd once been on magazine covers for his unshakable leadership. Now he looked like a ghost of himself. "You waiting for the bus?" I asked. He gave a bitter laugh. "I was waiting for my driver. He quit. Apparently, I don't pay well enough when I'm broke." I blinked, unsure I heard him right. Broke. He looked up at me, rain dripping from his hair. Lost everything in a hostile takeover. My own board voted me out. They took the company, the house, everything but this chair. He tried to move, but one of his wheelchair wheels caught in a pothole. Without thinking, I bent down and freed it. "Come with me," I said. He frowned. "What?" "You can't sit here all night," I said. "My place isn't fancy, but it's warm, and my daughter makes a mean bowl of soup." He stared at me like I was insane. "You don't even know me." "Don't have to," I said, shrugging. "Just someone who looks like he needs help." After a long pause, he sighed and nodded. The bus came, but we didn't take it. I called a cab instead, and when we got to my small apartment, Ella's eyes widened. "Dad, who's this?" "A friend who got caught in the rain," I said. She smiled shyly and ran to grab a towel. Daniel looked around my tiny living room, clearly uncomfortable but too tired to protest. I helped him transfer to the couch, and Ella brought him soup. He didn't say a word while eating, but I saw something change in his expression, a flicker of gratitude. That night, he stayed in the spare room. The next morning, when I came home from dropping Ella at school, I found him staring out the window. "Why'd you help me?" he asked. I poured coffee and said, "Because once, someone helped me when I had nothing. Kindness isn't a transaction." He didn't reply, just looked down at his hands. Over the next week, Daniel stayed longer than expected. He started helping Ella with her homework, turns out he was good with numbers, and even fixed the broken heater using tools he ordered online. Slowly, he opened up. He told me how after the accident that paralyzed him, he had pushed everyone away, convinced that needing help made him weak. "But when you lose everything," he said one night, "you find out what's real." I just nodded. A month later, he told me he was leaving. "I have to start over," he said. "Not as a CEO, just as me." Before he left, he handed me a folded note. "For you and Ella. A thank you." After he rolled into the taxi, I opened it. Inside was a handwritten message. "You reminded me that worth isn't measured by what we own, but by what we give. I'll repay this kindness someday. Count on it." Under the note was a card with the name, Cole Foundation. I didn't think much of it until 6 months later, when I received a letter. It was from Daniel. He had started a non-profit that funded education for children of single parents, and Ella was the first scholarship recipient. Tears blurred my eyes as I read his words. "You gave me shelter when I had none. Now I want to build shelter for others." That night, Ella asked why I was crying. I smiled and said, "Because good people always come back around." Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say to someone lost in the storm is simple. Come with me.